Students, today we have discussed about construction of a parallelogram. So one thing I have already told you regarding polygons, and parallelogram is a polygon. In connection to parallelogram we have already discussed 3 problems, and today I shall tell you 2 problems and 2 constructions that how can you draw a parallelogram if these types of informations have given to you. In the first question, you see, construct a parallelogram ABCD in which AB is 5.2 cm, AC is 6.5 cm, and your BD is 7.8 cm. So one thing, before going to construction, whenever the name of that parallelogram it has already been given to you, simply you draw a sketch diagram. You just first named it, and thereafter you would see which informations have been given to me and how can I start the construction. Let us for this one. First you draw a sketch diagram. Let us use A, B, C, D. Then what is given to you? Now this is given to you. Thereafter your AC means this diagonal and BD this diagonal, means one side and 2 diagonals have been given to you. Then you think about the properties of the parallelogram that we have already discussed. In the properties of parallelogram, one property is that the diagonals of a parallelogram, they bisect each other, means at this point both the diagonals they have bisected each other. So before starting that property you must have to keep in mind, otherwise you will be confused where how can I start it. Achha. Now you see, whenever that property is the diagonals of a parallelogram, they bisect each other, then keeping that property in the mind, you start the construction. Whenever AB is given and you see whatever these measurements have been given, I am not drawing exactly the same measurement, just I want to show you. First AB that you have to draw, which is 5.2 centimeter, and before that I want to tell you the process of drawing. First you draw a line, thereafter you just take measurement in your compass, that is 5.2, from both the side you cut this and it would be your 5.2, and thereafter as you know that the diagonals of parallelogram they bisect each other, hence what you have to do, you have to take half of the measurement of both. Half of the measurement, suppose 7.8 it is given, so from B end, means from this side you take your 7.8 it is 3.9 an arc. Similarly you just take half of 6.5 and then you draw another arc. So both the arc they will meet each other at this point, and thereafter you first join it and you produce this one, and here also you produce this one. Now you see at this point, this is the point where the diagonals that they have bisected each other. So from this point again you take another half, and from this point again you take another half of AC, and thereafter simply you join these lines. Finish. Very simple process. But you must have to remember the properties. Unless and until you remember the properties, it's not possible. Simply very simple. And in this process that you can draw a parallelogram where one side and 2 diagonals have been given. Let us go for the second problem. Here you see, in the second problem, let listen ABCD, and what is given? The diagonal AC is given and diagonal BD is given and the angle between the diagonals, this is given to you. Means angle between the diagonals, it is 75. Then how can you start it? Again the same property that we have read, the diagonals of a parallelogram, they bisect each other. So one thing, here you see only two diagonals AC and BD given and the angle between the diagonals given. So how can you draw it? So any of the two diagonals, either AC or BD, you take. Let us here we shall take BD diagonal. That is 6 centimeter. Achha. We have taken this one, BD diagonal, and thereafter what you have to do, as you have read, you have to find the midpoint of BD. Simply, you cannot say that this is 6 and I have to make 3. No, that is not the process of construction. You have to go for the perpendicular bisector. So, from these two, you get the perpendicular bisector line and simply by that process, you get the midpoint. Thereafter, at this midpoint, you draw 175 degree and then you just produce it in both the directions. So this is come your 75 degree and you have produced this in both the direction, and thereafter the another diagonal which is given 4 centimeter. Now half of the 4 centimeter, 2 centimeter. So from this point you cut 2 centimeter and this point you cut 2. And now this would be your AC. And now you have got AC, then you join this side and this side. In this process, we can find out a parallelogram where two diagonals given and the angles between the two diagonals is there. But one thing, you should always step to the construction process. As I have here told you, you can take directly the midpoint of whenever BD has been given 6 and I shall have to take 3 and put the point. No, you have to go for this perpendicular bisector of a line. You have to get this midpoint. Then at that point you have to draw the 75 degree. Then you have to produce in both the direction. As you know, at that bisecting point, the diagonals they bisected each other. So another diagonal that is AC. So on each side that would be 2. So here is 2, here is 2. Then you have joined it, and this is your AC point. Then you join, and so that in this process you can get that ABCD parallelogram. This is two methods that have been in other methods also are there. With other information we can also draw. So that in those types of construction we shall do in our next class. Till then, thank you all. Good night.